Gold Bond knows that things are just better with a little boost. Like your music? And your skin. Check out Gold Bond's new Plumping Collagen Body and Face Serum Lotion. It's clinically shown to visibly plump and boost skin hydration by 50%, leaving your skin looking hydrated and more youthful. Turn up beautiful skin with Gold Bond's new Plumping Collagen Body and Face Serum Lotion. Learn more on Amazon.
Starbucks cards are the perfect way to say, nice work. Give your team the gift of coffee when you order Starbucks cards in bulk directly from Starbucks. Whether it's a digital or physical card, celebrate employees and clients alike with designs for every occasion. Shop now at StarbucksCardB2B.com.
It's the Smucker's Uncrustables podcast with your host, Uncrustables. Okay, today's guest is rough around the edges. Please welcome Crust.
Thanks for having me.
Today's topic, he's round with soft pillowy bread.
Hey.
Filled with delicious PB&J.
Are you talking about yourself?
And you can take him anywhere.
Why'd you invite?
And we are out of time.
Are you really cutting me off?
Uncrustables are the best part of the sandwich. Sorry, Crust.
Welcome to the Women's Rugby Treehouse.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Treehouse. I am one of your hosts, Julia, and as always, I have my friends Hattie and Sean here. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Woo! All right, so this week we've got the finishing up of the quarterfinals matches, and we're going to be previewing the semifinals coming up. To remind us what we saw last weekend, what do you got, Hattie?
So we're not going to do how we've normally been doing it by messing it all up and going in a weird order. We're actually going to go in chronological order because there's only 4 games. So we're going to start off with, it was a beautiful game. What a beautiful, beautiful game it was. Quarterfinal 1. New Zealand versus South Africa.
Our game of the weekend.
It was just sensational. So the end result was 46-17, but it was, I believe, 10-all at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
What a match.
What a game. That first half is my favourite half of rugby that has been played this entire World Cup.
It's one of those matches you watch when you're just like, oh yeah, this is why I like it. That's right.
I agree. And I just think that's kind of what I was hoping for and expecting at the same time.
Yeah,
I thought South Africa would do exactly
really
that.
Hoping for. Because they deserve absolutely nothing less than, like, first of all, playing the same opponent on the same day as your, like, very storied men. And then also, like, of all teams, for it to be, like, New Zealand is probably one of the most respectful rugby teams ever. So that's absolutely who I want them to see last.
Yeah, it was just beautiful. I ended up watching it on my phone in a pub in Bristol. So I'm sat there, like, in spoons, and I'm not going to lie, it was a rough spoons, right?
I'm learning about spoons.
Is there anything else?
To all 3 of the Americans that are my friends and listening. I'm learning about spoons slowly and in the worst way possible through a friend.
Yeah. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I do frequent spoons quite often. But I was in this random spoons because I was like, where else am I going to get free Wi-Fi and I can order food directly to my table without getting up?
And you can get marg pictures.
I didn't get a marg picture. I got Sex on the Beach because they didn't have margs.
Oh, nice choice.
Nice
choice.
And it was
that's right. And that leads us right into your Four Loko. It's fine.
Yeah. So I was in this spoons watching it on my phone and I was getting so excited. I was like stamping and, like, I had my headphones on and I'm there, like, stamping my feet, getting really excited, like trying not to, obviously, but I was like losing my mind, and I obviously on my own, just like with my pizza and my onion rings and my giant pitcher.
She's having so much fun by herself watching something.
I was thriving. Honestly,
that is honestly your happy. I feel like that is the platonic ideal for Hattie. In a spoons, very lightly buzzed at most, very lightly buzzed. Pizza, match on, no one talking to her. Again, in spoons.
I watch rugby in cafes all the time on my own. It's like a thing.
Exactly.
I like.
And
great.
Yeah, it's just something that American culture has to catch up to.
Yeah.
The only thing,
just beautiful. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
like,
very
as long
smart.
as if the guy wasn't so Brexity, it would be wonderful.
Yeah, I haven't
Which
been to a
guy? Which
Spoons.
guy was this?
The guy
The
that owns it.
Weatherspoon.
Oh, the guy that owns it. I just thought this
Yeah.
was some man who was just like, I need to talk to you really briefly about.
No,
Do you have a moment to
he
hear the
was,
good word of Brexit?
he was
No.
very Brexity and like was
John
putting
Yeah,
John
there's
Brexit stuff.
and his
I haven't been back since.
there's like a thing on the menu called Freedom Breakfast.
Because it used to be French breakfast.
I don't know what it is, but
That's
it's
that
like
for
freedom
those
breakfast.
for those Hatties who weren't even born or whatever for 9/11.
I
that
was
something
actually
Americans
alive.
Okay, well, do you know
I
about
don't really
freedom
remember
fries?
it.
Do you know about freedom fries?
No. Oh, what, you renamed French fries?
Yeah,
That's
because
very
the French
American.
because no, we renamed the because. Ooh, you're ready for jingoism. Because, and by the way, our editors are going to message us and say you did not talk about rugby, you immediately started talking about Weatherspoons. Yeah, we did. And then freedom fries. And then we got a little bit political, and then we got a little bit political about how George Bush got mad at France because France was like, I don't really think that you should like invade Afghanistan, who had nothing to do with 9/11. And then we were like, shut the fuck up, nerd. And then we were like, since they don't believe in freedom, French fries, freedom fries.
It's a bit like in the
Toast
UK.
I remember. I
A
remember.
lot of people will call a German Shepherd an Alsatian, and it's because
Yeah.
during World War
That-
II,
I
because
understand,
Hitler
but do
had
they understand?
German Shepherds, they named them
Do
Alsatians.
you understand if you call them Alsatians? To me, that sounds almost more Nazi. I'm sorry. If you're calling it Alsace-Lorraine, I'm like, oh, so you think, okay.
And a lot of people like don't realize that it's the same breed. It's the same thing.
Sure is.
People
But
don't
like,
realize
yeah,
that?
if I
I had an
talk to
argument with somebody about it recently, and I was like,
Oh
no,
my
it's
God.
the
Talk to
same
somebody at the
dog.
dog
You're
park.
arguing with a historian. I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
It's
And
the
I
same
can, and for a
thing.
completely unrelated reason that happened earlier today, do not ever argue with Hattie. It's just don't. It's,
I'd be like,
it's
no,
not worth it. It's not worth it.
you're wrong, and I'm right.
You're wrong, and here's why. And then it's like footnoted. And I'm like, okay, well, I have footnotes too. And then you're like, well, I don't like those sources. And I'm like, well, good, I made them up.
Yeah, I will not only come for you for your wrong opinion, but if
For
you
your
try and give me
sources
sources,
of
I will rate
the
them.
wrong opinion.
Yeah.
Which is why when I argue with Hattie, I make most of my shit up myself.
Yeah, and I call you out for it. It doesn't end well.
Prove me wrong.
Right, let's move on. Back to what we're actually supposed to be talking about, which is South Africa versus New Zealand.
Yeah.
First
There was a
half,
very clear path for how we got there. First
Yeah.
half, fantastic half of rugby, probably my favorite half of rugby that I have watched in this World Cup.
it was just sensational. My favorite thing, and I honestly thought about it earlier, I'm going to call her friend of the pod. Why is Mummy So Muddy? If you have a child who would like to read a book, she has an excellent book called Why Is Mummy So Muddy? She did like a illustration over the weekend, and it was like a tarot card, and it was like the try, and it's Fran McGee scoring. And
it's super cool looking.
It's so cool.
Just to add, it's not baby. I mean, like obviously, like it's fine to have baby books, but in terms of like cool illustrations,
it's a cool illustration. And I was like, oh, if I was gonna get another tattoo, but it was of like a rugby related one, it would be in that style, but it would be Nadine Roos getting lifted in a line out.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I agree. And that would have to be it for me as well, because same, but what I really wish would translate well, and it wouldn't, is a 15-woman mall.
Yes, correct.
But then they'd just be like, that just looks like you have a pile of humans. I'm like, yes,
yeah,
it was awesome.
We'd like to point out these were separate events. Like these were two separate line-outs.
Oh, and by the way, in the 15-woman mall, that was when Dolph was lifted, who was also lifted.
Oh yeah. I
15.
forgot about that. I forgot about that.
I remembered seeing her scrum cap, and I was just like, that's not a forward.
I think I've
Who
only
is
ever
that?
seen.
It's Dolph.
I think I've only ever seen a scrum half lifted like that once before. I can only ever think of a.
They've lifted
because I can't
de Klerk before.
Yeah, I think that's what
And he got like yeeted.
Yeah,
tiny.
you could. You could.
I mean, he's ripped, but he's small.
Right, but for
Yeah,
what
they have done it before.
purpose? They're not long enough.
Yeah, but they're so light, they go so high.
Yeah.
if they leave the hands.
I like it. I like stuff like that. I think
Oh,
it's
I
showing,
like it. Oh, I like it too a lot. No. Sorry, my mind just went another place because I'm thinking like as the hooker, I'd be like, oh, so annoying. You have to like reposition, but it's fine. No, it's totally fine, and obviously you're supposed to be flexible like that. But
And let's be honest, if two South African locks are lifting a South African scrum half, that's still getting higher than a Welsh line out because
So that was
everyone
what
is so short.
that was where I was going to go next, was also like I had a bunch of different thoughts regarding just women's rugby and why it would work, I think, less good than men's, just because like we're moving into an era of tall props, but we have not been traditionally tall propped in the women's world.
True.
But yeah. It was fantastic. Totally worth it. I would get that tarot card. I would get it in the gay place, which is on my quad on the top. You only have 2 of them, so you have to, and I have one tattooed already, so the other one is going to have to be a much gayer image, like, for example, a rugby tarot card.
Or forearm.
Why is mommy so muddy?
Yeah,
Please comment below if I'm allowed to get that tattoo.
Yeah, let us know. I just love you.
If you don't comment, I am going to take that as approval.
What if she drew us?
That'd be hilarious. In a tree house.
She has a special for like people who chat shit, and then there's like important people. There's like Elma, there's Nick, there's like I think Claire Thomas would have to be there.
Are we not important?
And then no, we're full of shit.
I'm joking.
I was told to curse less. I am doing so well today.
We literally had a chat before we started recording about swearing on the pod.
We tried so hard, just like staying on topic. We had a chat about it that stayed on topic.
How good were the Blackburns in the second half, though?
Yeah. What do we have to say about? Yeah, I mean,
their tries.
Caitlin Vahakolo's try could have only been scored by Caitlin Vahakolo.
Exactly. Yes, I was gonna say there were a lot of artistic, what I call Blackburn moments, but it's just like, yeah, you would.
Yeah,
you would score that try. Yeah.
The thing that gets me though is like the passing is so accurate.
That's the
thing.
It's
so simple. It's so simple, but it's just something when you're used to watching, like, no offense, Wales and stuff. It's like we're completely missing that.
So where I was going to go from
Ireland
that
as well, we're doing it a bit. Sorry.
Where I was going to go with that, no. Exactly on your point is that, like, I think that speaks a lot to something that we've actually talked. Well, Welsh rugby has talked a lot about, people who talk about Welsh rugby a lot, and other nations that are supposedly no longer developing are developed, but like don't have this. Their skills like that is pathways. It's because they've been throwing a ball around since they were 4. That's why.
Yeah, it's like a sixth sense. They don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many. Here in America, there are lots of kids who are raised with basketball young, if their parents are inclined for that. But soccer is one that I think of where it's just like people who have been playing since they're 4. You can just tell because they can just like, that's just how they touch the ball. The Black Ferns, when you watch them, I'm just like, oh, you've been playing your entire life.
Yeah,
Wales could have that. The thing is, Wales could have that. They choose not to, and I think that's why.
I'd also say, like, with New Zealand, a lot of the New Zealand players, especially some of like the slightly older ones, they grew up playing like competitive touch, not like the touch that we play before contact.
This was back when they barely refereed touch. It was touch in name only.
It was touch so that you're passing the ball because we've got 10 minutes left. No, like they actually play proper touch, and that's why so many of them have such good hands.
Which is yet something else.
And off the back of that game, in which I think, the first half, in my opinion, going in being equal at halftime was a win for South Africa. Yes, they lost, but we're talking about number 3 in the world versus number 10.
Count should have stopped at half, in my opinion.
And obviously New Zealand got bollocking quite clearly, and South Africa had thrown everything at that first half. I think I was happy with that.
Without veering off too much, because it could go down a completely different road. We said this, and you know what? I think that it is still worth bringing up despite how the score ended up. Do you think there's a chance that perhaps New Zealand did not prep that much, rather? We were saying a lot in the first half is that they did not look ready for what South Africa brought.
I don't know if it was about preparation. I think perhaps
it was a case of
they underestimated, I think.
There we go.
the power of South Africa, because South Africa, honestly, it did blow my mind a little bit. Like they really took them on in the pack.
But I mean, and I say this specifically because we're about to have a conversation about a match in which like it seemed very much like performances either were or weren't on for one side or the other. I don't feel that in this case that you can go like, oh, well, they were only tied at the half because like New Zealand didn't turn it on. No, New Zealand tried. No, but that says a lot, because usually in the case where a massively overpowered team is tied with a traditionally undervalued team, it's because like that big dog team is having we have a team like that coming up. That big dog team is having a bad day. No, I kind of South Africa was having a very good day.
I kind of get a feeling with the Black Ferns is each game they're kind of holding stuff back. They're not, I don't know, like I always feel like they've got an extra gear. Yeah, but I always feel like they've got like an extra gear. And like they do seem to be peaking at the right time. Like, and I wonder if in that first half as well there was a bit of, I don't know, they were holding back a little bit. And then they were like, oh shit, we've like held back a little bit too much here, so we're gonna have
we held back too long.
Yeah.
I think they just weren't, like when you look at the teams that have beat New Zealand, it's been Canada, it's been England, France did a couple of years ago, but we're just going
Ireland, to be fair.
Ireland was not prepping, but Canada and England, when they have beat them, it has been all about power and being powerful, throughout. New Zealand tend to, especially if you look at like Georgia Miller, they tend to go for very dynamic back rows who are maybe rather than like big bolshy, anything like that. New Zealand have big bolshy backs. Like it was it's just a flip on like how you view rugby and how you want to play, and the two styles clash, and it worked perfectly and it was beautiful for 40 minutes. But then you had the difference in professionalization, you had the the difference in experience, and that's what built up in the second half. But that first half was excellent, and I think looking forward, South Africa could end up being another bogey team for New Zealand, because
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do
bogey is one direction to take it, but I mean, and I know we're getting to it because we were all talking about it before, and I hate to be the one to steal it from everybody, but I'm going to. But we've been talking about it. I think that it is not outside the realm of possibility at all that that South Africa is in the semis next 2029. I think they could.
I'd be surprised if they weren't.
Semis is, I think, where they're going to go. I obviously we would love to say final. I think that while they are going to rapidly progress, I think that countries like Canada are probably, after the success of this time yet again, and after the silver medal, I think.
You'd hope.
Well, I say, yeah. I guess it's hope. I guess it's hope, really.
Need proper funding and support, don't they?
They cannot be fundraising like a high school marching band anymore.
Exactly, they can't keep doing that. That's only going to last so long.
And I think of all of the teams, like including England, including New Zealand, South Africa are the team that are clearly putting money where their mouth is. Like we are seeing during this World Cup, it was announced today that they're putting together a national under-16s panel. So that's scouting talent
which,
at that age.
Which none of the big teams have. I don't even think.
I don't think they exist. No.
So England has like development centres. And they play each other, but it's not. It's not an under 16 team.
I was going to say it's an academy structure.
Yeah, it's not until they get to under 18s that it's actually being played.
There isn't a U16 World Cup.
I mean, there isn't a women's under 20s World Cup.
Or sorry. Oh, I guess that. Never mind. The argument doesn't make sense anyway. There is a U20 Six Nations, but
and there's an under 18 Six Nations.
South Africa wouldn't be there anyway.
Yeah, but it was. I'm just very, very, very excited for South Africa. We want a sleeping beast that's been awakened. Yeah,
we want more teams to do this. I think also I've said it before, and now I feel more than ever. Like I do feel that in terms of like teams that we consider on the precipice, I do think that South Africa will end up having to be a blueprint for everybody else. That's the gold standard.
Yep.
From nothing to a semi is insane. And holding the Black Ferns for half a match.
And so with that, Let's move on to quarterfinal 2. We've got Canada versus Australia, finished 46-5. Sophie Dagoti unofficially led her team. She had another win and another player of the match for herself. And the Aussies got on the scoreboard with a customary Desi Miller try, but failed to gain any more points. Thoughts?
It kind of played out how I was expecting it to play out, I think. That was sort of where I was going. I didn't think Australia would score many points. Canada are just really good. It sounds like a little bit simple, but they're just really good. And Australia just don't have the consistency at the moment. You know, they're just very up and down side.
That was what I was going to say, was that I didn't necessarily think that it wasn't possible at all that they could score more points.
No, I don't know. There's just something about them at the moment.
I was going to say, I was frustrated by it because it just feels like they're missing like one final piece.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
Especially how they played. Well, yes, okay, USA also not that great. We weren't getting through either. But still, the way that they played against us was much more comprehensive than the way they played against Canada. To which I say, like, what? What happened?
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
Do you guys think that with Australia, it's maybe like leadership and organization? So, for example, their 9 and 10 pairing changes constantly. We've seen, you know, in this World Cup cycle, Arabella McKenzie was kind of one of the standout 10s. She didn't even make the World Cup.
A lot of weird choices.
Yeah, like there's been a lot of kind of turnaround in the 9 and 10s. Do you guys think that maybe that's playing a role and that's maybe why they're not clicking?
Yeah, I do. It kind of remind me a little bit of Wales in it that I don't think they know what their best team is, which Wales don't really know their best 15. I don't think England do either, but that's another matter. But like, yeah, I think it's that consistency, isn't it? And I just don't think they have that.
And I mean, you know, not that we would have to like read tea leaves to kind of figure out what the problem here was, but up until pretty close to the time when camp started for the World Cup, there was still discussions of like, are we going to get the Levi's? And then a larger conversation of, are we going to be integrating the Sevens girls at all? The answer was yes, kinda. There's a lot of, and we touched on this last time, so we don't need to go into it again, but there are code problems across the board in Australia. There's also a talent drain. It could also be asked, did you lose some of the talent that could have propelled you further to league?
Or
I don't
AFL.
know. Or AFL. Yeah. I don't know the answer to that, but in terms of like,
it's probably a combination of all of these things, isn't it?
Right. And the roadblocks that we know that the Wallaroos have had anyway, pretty recently, to be honest. The turnaround from 22 has still been good, in my opinion. But
I agree. I think they have been on an upward curve. It's just a little, I don't know. I just feel like
it is what you said. It's the consistency. And so that, and we're going to be talking about this item of news otherwise, but it's already known, and just touching on it, it also doesn't help when you cycle coaches. We're going to talk more about that later. But surely having to start with new systems over and over again, like, can't help. I wish I like had more insight from there, but like if I were on the team, I would feel a little bit of inconsistency. You don't get to learn players in 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also think, like, just to go back to like a talent drain very quickly, is that if you're a young player, or you know, you're a teenager, right? You're like 16, 17, and you're like, oh, I've kind of got to pick, you know, am I going to go league or am I going to go union? England and Australia are like two different sides of the coin, because if you're English, you're like, well, I'm a talented player, I can play world-class rugby. Do I pick league? Do I pick union? Well, I'm going to pick union because it's, you know, a supported league. There are national contracts. There's, you know, levels get really, really high. It's a program
the pay is way higher at league.
In union
is bigger.
In union in England.
Okay. I thought you meant in Australia. I was like,
no, in Australia. If you go to Australia, it's the other side of the coin, where league is much higher. You're in a completely dominant team. Like,
of course,
it's just two different sides of the coin. So it's really difficult to be like, when you judge Australia, like, yes, it is a problem, but like, it's always been the problem. Like, it's been a problem since like 1907. Like, you can't really be like, it's not new.
Yeah, it's not new, and it's something that, while it sucks, you have to adjust to. And, you know, you only need to look at Canada to see a team that deals with like, well, it sucks, but it's what we have. Sorry.
I think Union in particular is struggling in Australia as well, isn't it? The last couple of years, like they've
That's
really been struggling.
They're the bottom of the pile
struggling.
of football code.
It's struggling, yes. However,
I think
a couple of different things. One, it like they've sold out a bunch of Wallabies games, which you know, league games and everything else have not hit those levels of attendance. So there is that. But also like it's never been the dominant football code. Like it's always been third. No. So you can't really say that it's new.
If
That's
they
my,
win, though, they will
my
start,
2 cents on it.
They will pull in the crowds.
They'll
again.
bandwagon it, yeah.
Like they beat South Africa recently, didn't they?
Yeah.
So it's like those kind of games, like they will, the crowds will go if they win.
I just think about
it's just bandwagoning though, like it's not sustainable.
Well, no,
that's the problem. And so this brings me back, and it's something that like honestly we don't have the answers for, so it's all just kind of navel gazing, but it's our podcast, so we get to. It all brings me back to the sevens question in Australia, because it feels like that situation is unique. And I think when I think about drawing crowds, I think about how Australia has, other than this last Olympics, historically always performed very well. First, when we had a sevens World Cup, then when it became an Olympic sport, we got rid of the sevens World Cup. But Australia has long time been dominant in sevens. That draws crowds. I say that because it's like not impressive ones. And then the big problem is that in general, there's nowhere except America, and America's isn't good, but we do have one, a domestic sevens competition. Japan has one, which is very interesting. Japan has professionalized their sevens, and it actually apparently is doing pretty well as a spectator sport.
There's also men's professional sevens league in India. And I think
which is dope as hell. Yeah. I think they're not professional, unfortunately, but
no, it is.
It is.
All the girls are paid.
Yeah,
the men are definitely paid.
And men are big. I don't know about the women.
That was all I was wondering. But either way, no, that's still way movement forward. And again, when you are scraping for new audiences, when you're scraping for new avenues of bringing in money, like fine, whatever, bring the men back in. I don't care. If they'll help, fine.
Yeah, like it's complicated and it's weird, and it's
as Alice's handmade shirt says, men can play rugby too.
They can.
They're allowed.
Oh, bless.
Just don't do it in front of me.
Don't do it in front of me. Don't talk to me about it. I'm not really that.
Oh, I was just making hashtag social commentary where they're just like, it's fine if you're gay, just don't do it in front of me. And I'm like, well, it's fine if men play rugby, just don't do it in front of me. Don't let my kids
I got what you were going with that.
I don't want the kids to start asking me if it's normal that men play rugby.
Yeah. Have you seen that clip of I know you're joking, but in all seriousness, have you seen that clip of Katie?
But this is why you're so goddamn annoying. It's because you're like, I know we're all laughing and having fun, but can I bring it down a sec?
Have you seen Katie Daly McLean's like interview where she was talking about her daughter?
About her kids, or when her daughter was like, I didn't even know men played rugby. That is blessed. That is blessed. Okay,
that's how you know you're raising your children correctly.
I know. That's how you know you're doing it right. That was exactly what I was going to say. And then I was like, and because I do this, I was like, I want to take that thought experiment further. And as being a linguist in my other life, I think a lot about the, and of course these are extremely unethical and they don't do them anymore, but for a small period of time, they were doing the ones where they were like raising children in isolation and seeing what happens with their language development. Okay, that was like super bad. Don't do that. But what if you did it with a child in rugby? And then immediately they revoke all of my licensure, they're like, you absolutely cannot do research anymore. I'm like, that's
so if Molly was a human child, right?
Yeah.
Would she know that men's basketball exists? Because I only watch women's.
See, so fine. I only watch women's sports in general. So my two sons and my tiny daughter, my two sons are so woke. First of all, they have gay moms. Gay moms.
They're adopted.
Interreligious. They're both adopted from rescues. They're orphans. They were abandoned. Both of them were abandoned in weird situations and found like eating rocks. So, you know, they're also a little not good at learning. And they've never seen men play sports. I think I watched men's hockey with my sister's boyfriend. That's about it.
I don't watch much.
And
many
my sons were like, "That's crazy. Where's all the purple? Where's the one song that they play over and over and over?" They're thinking of PWHL.
Where's the ponytails?
Men's sports is a bit boring now. When you go to women's sports, going back to men's sports, like,
and by the way, the men's sports aren't woke. What's the point?
Especially not NHL.
Not NHL for sure. NHL least woke. Apparently, I didn't know this. Men's rugby has gone completely woke. I don't know how or when, but I have been informed by the men of online that men's rugby is woke now.
It's gone woke, and that's why it's broke.
Imagine if you saw DuPont and Atomic, Entomac. What if they were
Entomac.
What if they were dating? What?
Entomac.
What if they were dating? Yeah, what if they were dating?
No, what if they were dating?
What if they were
dating?
That'd
be quite cool. That would be quite cool.
Entomac is like engaged with the child, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Never mind. I'd have to make a WNBA reference, only you would get. But there have been people who have had spouses and children and not super duper been straight, it turns out.
Hey, Candace Parker.
All just the two of us will get that reference.
With that, let's go to a very gay team against another team that love to get with each other as well. Quarterfinal 3, France versus Ireland. 18-13. Almost said 3. They'd be really mad.
Oh my god. And by the way, on an episode where we're already going to get cancelled by the Irish.
I love this game.
The Irish, notably fans of this podcast, an American and 2 Welsh. They love it.
Was it? Oh no, it was a good friend Hugh. He recently got a comment.
Oh yeah.
Yes. We should definitely, one thing I know the viewers love is when we reference other social media that we have no way of showing them or like linking them or anything. We're like, this happened, just trust us.
This was
fantastic.
So funny.
Please tell the story of the Irishman getting mad at Hugh at any cost.
So Hugh had made a video that did not reference Ireland. Had nothing to do with Ireland. I want to say it was like
it's in a long series, by the way. This is in a series that he's done many, many times. It's just
wasn't it about jerseys? Wasn't it?
It's his jersey ranking.
Yeah.
Sub pod.
And it was like
was it like a Fiji jersey or something?
I can't remember what the jersey was.
Yeah, it was like Fiji or something.
And Q getting a very angry message from Hugh when he corrects us on the exact breakdown of what happened.
Oh my god. Well, that'll be between him counting how many times I went off topic.
He got this comment where it was like, I'm going to unsubscribe. You know nothing about Ireland. You never talk about us. You're biased. Unsubscribing. And he was like, this video has nothing to do with Ireland. What?
Brilliant. That is classic.
I asked him if he maybe like offhand mentioned it. He was like, I did not say the word Ireland in this video. And I was like, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that sounds right.
However, we are talking about Ireland.
We are talking about Ireland.
In a match that got everyone's tongues wagging. There were 4 yellow cards in this game.
I love this match. It was like an old-fashioned.
Why did you love this match? This was like a punishment.
It was like absorbing, though. It was like an it reminded me of like an old-fashioned game.
Oh, okay.
It was the type of game where you could stamp on people and like gouge people's eyes out. That's the
and maybe bite them.
As I've said before. So, again, this really harkens back to earlier when I said that Hattie is just constantly harassing me. I didn't know. I thought that the last time that France got done for biting in a women's World Cup was 2010. Apparently, I'm wrong. Apparently, it was like really recent. Thank you, Ella Ferguson. You're not mean to me. But you did point that out.
There's always time.
Ella, I'm going to give you all my
Ella,
socials.
you need to bully Julia, please.
Ella, you need to cyberbully.
She's not watching this.
Follow me back. She's not watching this. Follow me back. Doesn't know who I am. I tweeted her all the time. She's like, I don't think you're really a person. Totally fair. Totally right. But all of that said, very vintage France to bite, by the way.
Yeah. It reminded me of when Sané did the stomping.
Yeah, so I used to like long ago, like 2010 long ago, I used to hate France because it was the common knowledge like they're the dirtiest team. And like the most terrible attitudes. All that has completely changed. I tell that for historical context, but did bring me back.
It reminded me of the 80s. It reminded me of the 80s. I'm like, oh, I'm in 1989 again. Good bit of...
Now, Hattie, 1989 happened when...
This is funny for 2 reasons. 1, yes, I was not born yet. I was born in 1996. But 2, I'm also a historian. Yeah.
Of
True.
what? Everything?
Of everything.
Of everything. This.
I know everything.
I think she does.
I really hope that they make that the thumbnail, because the thumbnail is usually my eyes are closed, Sean is laughing, Hattie looks normal, and I'm sick of it.
Well, I've just
And
got
I
a
know
resting bitch face.
Oh my God. You don't even, by the way. But I really like your commitment to it. And I'm like, yeah, you're totally RBF.
Anyway, back to my script that I've lovingly written.
And I lovingly reviewed it.
Yeah.
Did you though?
Yes.
There were 4 yellow cards in this match, 3 for France and 1 for Ireland, and 2 post-match sightings. Let me finish.
I was just going to say this match has everything.
This does. Benet Falou was cited for a high tackle at 79 minutes, which resulted in a 3-match ban for the captain, whilst Axel Bertomeu has copped a 12-match ban, later reduced to 9, for biting Aoife Wafer. Bertomeu has issued a full apology and admitted her guilt, but has also appealed the decision, as we know, because the ban would have taken her through to March, which is maybe a bit unfair. I will say, if anybody wants to come at me for the pronunciation of Bertomeu, blame Karuk.
Yeah, you also got wrong right there. It's fine.
Oh,
She is trying. It's you actually did fine with Bertomeu and then completely butchered our friend's name.
I'm very dyslexic.
I know. Okay, and then you just make us feel bad. I like how, by the way, when you get corrected and you make us feel bad, but when I get corrected, you're like, actually, you deserve it.
Yes.
Listen here, you dumb bitch. And I'm like, yes, that's true. That's true about me.
I like
This
bullying.
game.
It's crazy that you were 2 of my closest friends.
You like bullying.
I
do. Bullying is how I show my love.
Days. Oh my days.
It is actually
this match was mad though, wasn't it? Because like I don't think I've seen a game.
I was gonna say, jokes
like
aside, if you love rugby, this had a bit of rugby.
This was more WWE featuring a rugby ball.
Yeah, it was. It was just nuts. I think the conditions were insane as well. Like torrential rain and wind and all that kind of stuff. And France just looked like they were just like, oh, I don't want to fancy this today. They just kind of were just, no, not doing it. And to be fair, Ireland played the conditions really well to an extent in that first half, but they just didn't score enough points.
They just didn't.
They had all that possession and territory, and it was just
I was just going to say, it's
what was the score at halftime? 13.
It's the never-ending case of Ireland not being able to finish. It's bizarre, but
they should have been
25 cannot finish the last 2 or 3 phases. Can't get there.
I'm going to steal Alice's soapbox for a second.
Yes,
and say that Ireland losing was all Ireland's fault. This wasn't a game won by France. This was a game lost by Ireland. And 100%. It is on leadership and management from every level, from coaching and backroom staff to
on-field management as well,
on-field captaincy to senior players to junior players on the pitch. Like, nobody managed the game well.
I was going to say, and the complete lack of connection between any of the entities that you just listed.
Yeah. You've got players on the pitch being sick when they should have been taken off. Don't obviously know why they were being
Ireland,
sick.
not France.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
You know, you've got players being sick on the pitch and not being taken off. You've got players on the pitch who are the walking wounded and clearly should not be playing. You've got captains not really getting across the referee particularly well. Like, there were so many levels to this that didn't work. And
by the way, all of the things you just listed when they happened were all egregious, in my opinion. The Ruth Campbell was...
She should not have been on the pitch. That could have been a head injury, and that's why she was being sick.
I think it's almost... Okay, so here's my thing, and we don't know, and I really hope that I'm wrong. This is one of the things that I hope I'm wrong the most about that I'm going to say in this episode. I really hope I'm wrong, but almost certainly that's a head injury. I have puked in games before. It has always ended up being a concussion. Especially how many times it was. We only saw the one. And what I really hate, by the way, and I know that absolutely nobody who does anything with like real companies that do it, whatever, but I really, really resent when that kind of thing is posted. And I saw it, the way that I saw it in the post on Instagram was, does this person have the highest work rate at the World Cup? No, she has a concussion. Like,
yeah. I hate
please don't
that.
say that. Please don't say that that's high workload. That's how we end up with, and this is going to veer way off for just a second, but those kind of comments are how we end up with those idiotic competitions that we've seen with the men. Thank God it's only the men, but the men who just run at each other, and you see how hard you could hit the other guy. That's how we get there, is by being like, oh, it's high work rate to put yourself at extreme risk. It's not. And on that topic, Eva Wafer shouldn't have played in that match.
Oh my God.
I think you fucked her recovery entirely.
100%.
It's all fun and games.
She whacked her knee in the first half, didn't she? And she was like flattened.
She was also heavily strapped,
and it was just
kickoff.
like, I don't know how she carried on. She looked to be honest, I thought after that
she was hobbling.
She was hobbling
well
a lot.
off after that.
So that was what really blew me, was that I saw a lot of Ireland commenters, a lot of like people who talk about Ireland women, and definitely no ball. And the only reason why I'm mad is because these people know ball, and and the narrative was all still that like this team is Aoife Wafer. First of all, if your team is one person, like your team isn't good. Second of all, she's a machine. She's like absolute animal, whatever. I was like, oh, she's a wounded animal then.
Let's be honest, Aoife Wafer is a person. She deserves to be treated with dignity, and she should, like, there should be a thing of longevity, not only for her career but also post-career. Is it really worth it if she retires in 5 years unable to walk because you forced her out onto a pitch when she wasn't ready?
Right. And by the way, the answer to all of that, and I worry that if I were to talk to Ruth Campbell directly, the answer would be like, well, I also knew that was going to be my last match in the World Cup. I wanted to, like, okay, you're also 19 and we care about you being a player. And Aoife Wafer is also pretty young for a player. And then also on top of all of that, the age doesn't matter.
No,
these people have to be humans after this. These aren't just tools for us to like enjoy and then walk away from. They have to go home. They have families.
Like, let's also be clear, like, players are not the best people to make medical decisions for themselves.
That's why you have team doctors.
This is why you have team doctors. This is why you have independent doctors for HIAs. This is why you have coaches and management. Like, you should be looking out for your players.
All of those fancy apps tracking all of their biodata.
What's the point? Athletes are the worst people for playing and training on injuries. They are the worst.
The higher level you perform at, the less you're likely to see it clearly.
Exactly. They need the support. They need a medic to be like, come on.
And
this is a long-term game here. This is like thinking of the future. It's just not worth it.
I especially hate it in light of, it wasn't that recently, but it stuck with me, the way that Kat Merchant wrote about the fact that she can't remember winning the World Cup. That kills me. And like, what if you went forward? And then like, Ruth isn't going to remember that match. Shabal came out recently and said he doesn't remember his entire career. Is it
Steve Thompson that, if you're in the UK, his documentary is heartbreaking. I believe it's on BBC iPlayer, and his book and everything else. Like,
it is heartbreaking.
I don't remember a whole week of my life, and I was a grassroots player. Like, concussions and repeated concussions are scary.
Well, so that was what I was going to ask you, because like, I'm not going to put you on blast. You are our friend. We know you very well. But like, you have a condition that was acquired in this game. You have post-concussion syndrome. It is still affecting you now, and you haven't played in I don't know how many years.
Almost 3 years. Yeah.
Is that what you want for your national players? Because it can happen. It only takes once.
Yeah.
But honestly, there's been obviously quite a lot in the media in the last couple of years about dementia and head injuries. So I don't understand why there's still this attitude. I don't know. I just feel like they're saying one thing, but they're not backing it up.
But that's why it is so frustrating, because you talk a big game about keep rugby safe. There's a great account that I know a lot of people have kind of take umbrage with Progressive Rugby, another big tweeter and poster. I don't, because people don't like that they are overly careful and that they are constantly talking about the head injuries. Again, this ruins some people's lives. And
people have died.
Okay, so people have died, and I worried about talking about this. We were joking before we started recording about things that we worried about, because fun side story. A few episodes ago, we mentioned a phrase about a particular American president that people didn't like, and YouTube called our episode electioneering. Can't vote for him right now. He's already in office. Not electioneering, but I did worry about saying what I'm about to say, because I don't want it to get misconstrued or tagged in a weird way. But I'm hoping whatever AI is scraping this can understand the context to which I'm saying it. But people have killed themselves over this, literally. There is, we've talked about it before, but the story of Siobhan Cadigan is not that her concussion killed her. She took that out when nobody would take care of her, when nobody was giving her the support that she needs. There are other people who are even lower profile, but those people matter. And they've taken their lives. This is something that impacts you for the rest of your life. It sounds heartbreaking and something that you can brush past when you hear like a woman can't remember winning the World Cup, a man can't remember his entire professional career. They have to walk around with that forever. And it's not super easy to take when it's been your whole life, when we're talking about how much your life revolves around sport when you're elite. Is that what you want to possibly happen so that you can win a semifinal or a quarterfinal? That's why we harp the way we do. So I do hope people understand, because I know that it's annoying to some people who think they're going to live forever, but
it's not the case.
You're not, I'm not. I hope you care about them. They're providing you a lot of entertainment.
On terrible pay.
Yes.
Sometimes pay. Sometimes pay.
About 2 pence.
Yeah.
Oh no, there were several teams, not right now, not that are left in the 4, but there are several teams that competed at this World Cup where the girls weren't getting paid.
And they had to pay to get there.
And have to pay to get there. To pay their own airfare. Stuff like that. For the pleasure of being told, deal with your lifelong memory loss.
Yeah. So with that, just to say, Manefalo, her high tackle at 79 minutes, it was a clear headshot. Yes, you can kind of go like... I don't really feel like you can bring in... she's the captain and it's she's going to miss a World Cup semi-final and then either third place or the actual final. At the end of the day, but off the back of what we've just said, it was head contact. I think that's fair.
I don't understand why the TMO didn't
pick it up.
Right. So my
the bite. So
yeah,
the bite is more egregious in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
And also my only real problem with the Falou story is that there's a ban. I don't understand that. I think there have been other bad tackles that didn't result in a ban. That's my only thing. Obviously, it should be disciplined.
Yeah, I think if it had been picked up in the game, I think it's likely she would have gone off for a yellow card, which would have been a red, but it wouldn't have been a ban.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would have been a second.
Yeah, it would have been a second yellow.
It would have been.
It would have gone to the bunker. I'm not. Actually,
but it wasn't the second. It wasn't the second yellow on her. It was the second yellow France got.
No, it was the second yellow on her.
I think she got. She got
3 yellows in total.
For pulling down the
pulling down the mall.
She got cited for the collapsing the mall.
No, she had a yellow card in the first half. Then in the second half is when she did the high tackle, and that's what she got cited for.
Right. So I didn't know what she got the first card for. I didn't know.
Yeah. So I am saying what would have happened, I think, is that she would have got a yellow and it would have gone to the bunker, but because it was a second yellow, it would have gone to red. I still think it would have been come up as a 20-minute red. Obviously, it was in the 79th minute. It doesn't matter. Because of the velocity at which that shoulder went into that head. I think it would have been, but I'm not entirely sure if it would have ended up being a 3-game ban, but because it wasn't cited in the game, blah, 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 blah. This is getting very technical, but it's not.
But it's worth talking about, because I understand that it shouldn't be a mitigating, or it shouldn't be something that changes the outcome. But yes, it really does suck to not have your captain in a potential.
Then don't shove your shoulder into somebody's head.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
If it was something like a cynical play or a knock on or whatever, I'd be like, this is ridiculous.
Interesting that you mentioned both cynical and a knock on, because that is how Ireland feels that it ended.
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, that first yellow card, someone was saying that it should have been a penalty try as well.
Yeah,
I did see that a lot, and so I don't really listen to the Irish who complain that if the bite had been seen, she would have been taken off, and because of that, blank, 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 I don't know where your thoughts are going, but they would have ended up scoring. That I'm like, okay. The conversation about should have been a pen try, so I get it, but nobody is awarding pen tries at all in this World Cup. So
I think I've seen maybe one.
I think there has been
and it was
one.
Egregious.
Right.
My
And so the
my
thing is,
take
in,
on
in a,
that
yeah.
maul is, yeah, you could argue that it was a penalty try, but also a couple of the Irish players have pulled off and were blocking. So
that's where I was at, but I was like, now we're just gonna like go tit for tat. They're gonna go look at that reel. They're gonna
exactly.
go look at the clip 1,000 times and be like, oh well, look at where her bind is.
Exactly. So
But they really did have some really, I was looking at it and, you know, not to keep shouting her out in a bad way, but Ruth Campbell was really not performing well in that maul. She was offside almost the entire time. So just like, if it were my team, I'd be like, oh, shh, don't tell them to go look. No.
See, I was very lucky to have a chat with Ben Breakspear yesterday on Rap. And
Yeah, what did you learn?
And he was saying, like, he didn't want to comment on the refereeing at the World Cup, but he did say, like, they get together and you could have a room of 12 referees and 6 of them could agree with one thing and 6 of them could say something else. And
absolutely. And that's why they have panels.
Yeah, that's why you have panels, and that's what, like, the law book for rugby was written by a bunch of English Victorian lawyers. It's not meant to make sense.
I was going to say, it is supposed to confound you.
Like,
it's going to be a car crash.
It's supposed to piss you off. Hey, you know what? Those English and the English lawyers still pissing us off to this day.
I genuinely think if Ireland had, so there were so many times when they had really good possession, the forwards were making really good ground, they'd whip the ball out, they had space out on the wing, the pass wasn't good enough. And it's quite simple stuff. We were talking about it earlier with New Zealand. They nail that. Absolutely. Canada tend to nail that. But Ireland, I don't know, I felt so frustrated for them because, not dissimilar to Wales against Fiji, you know, all they needed was some accurate passes and they probably would have scored quite a few more tries. Those little things.
Yeah, it was little things, and that's exactly. I do feel, by the way, that this scoreline reflects exactly the match that we watched.
Yeah. And you know, even if you think like, oh well, like X, Y, Z, even if Dana had made her kicks, it still would have been 17-18. Like,
yeah.
That was. I was really glad that you pointed it out, and you said. When you said that you were gonna, be bringing that, I think that that's the best point to make, because I do think that that's probably the easiest to grab off the shelf argument, but it doesn't pan out.
I don't think she kicked. Some of her kicks weren't great though. She was kicking long, and it was just going dead, and it was kind of like
it was very windy.
Yeah.
And Exeter's not a good place to play anyway when it comes to wind. Add in like basically a storm. And
the conditions didn't help. They didn't. No. They really didn't.
Oh, absolutely. And but also like that's
where you make adjustments to your game.
Right. I was going to say weather is something across the board in the sport of rugby has always been a thing where it's just like it doesn't matter. The weather is never going to be an excuse because
Hattie, I think you were discussing. I think it was last episode about the Irish line out. I actually thought it was a bit better.
Weirdly, I went and looked up the stats, and technically France's was worse. But
yes,
I will say
it was the timing of the line outs they lost, though.
Yeah. Ireland.
Exactly. I mean, it matters what time in the game the line out is happening. Absolutely.
Yeah, like Ireland's line out, they really did not want to go to it. They were really avoiding it at all costs. The line out, they did simplify their line out, which they don't normally do. So good for them. They just, I look, it's a very, very young team and they just don't have the experience to make adjustments.
I will say there is a big bright spot. I do feel, and I have it has been reaffirmed to me through the cup. I think Beamond is doing a great job.
Yeah,
I'm super happy they got him. It seems like it's a really good fit.
I
agree.
When it comes to what they're going to do next after the World Cup,
I'm curious.
I'm very curious. Personally, I would say that they need a new captain. I would say Sam Monaghan and Tricky have done their job. They were the two most senior players in the squad. They have really helped the team. However, I think they need somebody who is used to captaining and captains week in, week out.
Absolutely.
I think they need somebody with that experience. I think
can you think of anybody for now or who?
Yeah. So I would say Brittany Hogan.
Yeah. So okay,
Nice choice.
I asked because I needed time because I remembered that you had said that and I went and looked it up and I agree.
Yeah, she actually has more caps than Tricky.
I had no idea.
Yeah, she has more caps than Tricky. She has been Ulster captain for forever. She's obviously played sevens as well. She is somebody who plays a full 80. That's maybe something that takes away from the likes of like Niamh Jones or Linda Jugang. She is a real leader, and I think she's level-headed enough to kind of take that team through. I think considering so many of their players are based in Ireland, I think they maybe need a captain who is a professional player in Ireland, which unfortunately Sam Monaghan and Tricky are not. And I think they need somebody who can be captain for a long period of time. And
Right.
both
That
Tricky
was what I was gonna
and
say,
Sam
is-
Monaghan are at the end of their career.
Yeah. First of all, it's the consistency, and I hate to say this, only in light specifically of Tricky and Sam Monaghan. You do want somebody who, if possible, you can never know, but if possible, is not super injury prone. And that's absolutely not a knock on a player. That is just a fact of life, the same way that like a person is short or tall. Like some people get injured a lot. You also can't, you know, that's tertiary. It's not like you can select a captain just based on that. But Hogan is reliable.
Hogan's reliable,
Yes,
and I also
reliable.
think
Yeah.
there might be some people who would say, "Oh, well, it should go to the likes of Aoife Wafer." Aoife Wafer, one, she's got so much responsibility anyway from the press, and two, she's injury prone.
Yeah,
like it's just not. I don't think it's a good pick.
No, I don't. I don't think she's the right. Well, not, she's so young still as well.
So
Brittany Hogan's like, I
she's
think I
quite
want
a
to say she's like
quiet
25,
character.
26. Like I
Yeah,
think
I think
it's a
she's
good
a-
shout.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah. So with that, just wanted to talk very quickly about the ban. So we've got a 12-match ban that was reduced down to 9 weeks. And a point that I wanted to ask you two is, so if the 12-match ban, which has been reported as a 12-week ban, but if it had been 12 weeks,
that
it
was what I was
actually
wondering.
would have taken her to March because it's 12 games, not 12 weeks. If this was
was it worded as 12 matches or 12 weeks?
So the actual thing is 12 matches, is 12 games.
Okay.
However,
But they don't play many games.
but the thing is,
and that's why
it was being reported as 12 weeks because generally in men's rugby, in men's European rugby, you have a match every week, and you know, especially in France, it goes on for 11 months out of the year. So because of that, my question to you guys is like, should the ban be adjusted for the league in which somebody plays? Because if this was a men's European player, if they're playing in the top 14, if they're playing in the URC, if they're playing in the Prem, you know, sometimes you see like, especially like Irish players, Irish men's players who like they're being added in for a game they 100% wouldn't have played in. We saw it last year. I think it was Seb Davis in Cardiff, who Cardiff didn't have a game at the weekend, but they included a Cardiff Super Rugby game. I don't know if you remember, Sean, and they included that in his ban. There's no way he would have played that game. In the women's game,
all the time.
That's so interesting because
it's so dodgy.
Yeah, that's so dodgy. But I cannot think of a single format that women currently play for Union where you could do that. You can't game it.
No,
the only way you could do it is in like the PWR. If you had a player
putting them in
who
a cup game or something.
If you had a player who was dual registered, so they would say that they were going to play a champ game.
Oh, say you're going to play for the champ. Okay.
So like if it was a Saracens player that was dual regged, you could be like, oh, they're going to go play for OA Saints. Yeah.
You could possibly do it if you were playing in the PWR and the Celtic Challenge, maybe.
I was just going to say
the weekend spell.
You could maybe do it if you were Irish and it was the Celtic Challenge and the AIL.
And AI, okay. That was exactly where I jumped. And then I was just thinking, I don't even know necessarily if they overlap.
But even that, like the Celtic Challenge doesn't start till like 2 days or something before Christmas. So it's kind of like
if you had a 12-match ban and you were a Welsh Celtic Challenge player, you're out for an entire year.
That's the thing.
You know, if you're playing in Old Picky, you're out for like
to me.
3/4 of it.
Yeah.
So my answer to your question is easy. Mine is very straightforward. Yes, it should be adjusted for women. It's meant to be a punishment, yes, but it's not meant to
destroy someone's career.
I was trying to find a way, like,
Yeah.
it's meant to be punitive, but not like destructive.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
so-
It's difficult, isn't
and
it?
especially
Particularly
because
No, go on.
because it wouldn't happen for men. All I was going to say is because it's so much easier to get
To
through for
rack up
men.
12 games.
That's not fair.
Yeah, they play so many more games. It's just not really a fair, it's not a fair reflection. Like, this is the thing. Something like a bite as well is like awful. So you want it's got to be a substantial ban, but you can't just ban someone for an entire season. That's like,
if it were substantially bad, yeah.
We also have news in from Twitter as of the last sort of hour or so. It is officially Nomnom Gate. Not Chomp
It is
Gate.
Nomnom Gate, and it has, we already said it. Nomnom Gate and Nomnom Gate bumped down to 9 weeks.
Bumped down to 9 weeks. I think we've probably already answered this, but multiple people on Twitter would like to know if Nomnom Gate hadn't happened, if the weather was better, if Santa Claus himself came down to the game, would the outcome be any different?
I don't think so.
From seeing the questions, and then I tossed it back and forth in my mind, and I just don't think so. So many chances were already gone by then.
I mean, you could argue because France had 3 yellow cards, sorry.
But
and
2 by the time of Nom Nom.
Yeah, so but they might have had the other card anyway. But like, to have another player off, they might have gone down to 13.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still think.
So my answer is with just the bite going down to 14. I really don't think so. Maybe going down to 13 might have done it. That can complicate things when you're doing goal line defense.
But also, Ireland went down to 14 at one point because they also had a yellow card.
They did, exactly. So
it was not a match in which the only people, the foul play on France's side was more egregious, but they were not the only ones.
Right.
It was,
and not to both sides it, but just addressing the numbers.
You were not angels.
I've seen Cardiff fail to score 15 against 13 players. Just saying.
We've seen it happen.
I've seen Cardiff do it last year in person.
Yeah. And then Lo would like to know, so she noticed that we often talk about PBS coming off at 65 minutes, and I am very happy to report that PBS stayed on for 75 whole minutes, which actually is slightly more than that because Ireland played like 7 minutes into
the half.
It did. Yeah.
So she really did play 80.
Really
she just came off for the last 5. And this is, we're talking about game management, etc. on Ireland's part. That wasn't a good choice. Do you think that influenced the game? Do you think it was a good decision? Do you guys think that we're probably going to see maybe an 80-minute performance from PBS against England?
Unfortunately, what this match made me, and I've been wondering this a little bit just because it is so nonsensical to be taking her off at 60 or 65. So I am starting to wonder, and especially because I ranted about it earlier, I do wonder if there is something going on. And so first of all, we know PBS is a player, like she's probably not going to publicize it at all if she's injured anyway, or feeling not great. But I do wonder now if she has low-key requested less time, because at this point I cannot think of a single good reason why she comes off otherwise. I would love to see an 80-minute performance, but the fact that she's still left at 75, I'm like, with 5 minutes left,
and it was tight,
so it has to be.
It was still in the game was still
so
very
it has
much
to be
in the balance,
which isn't great. I don't. Yeah.
I just don't know. We just don't know. It's all very mystical.
Think though that if it was a World Cup final, I think she'd play through.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot the other half of my answer, which is absolutely, and the more important the game, I think she would.
Yeah. Which I think is maybe why she stayed on for 75 for this one. Yeah. With that, are we ready for our final game?
Yeah.
Let's talk about England.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Woohoo!
Quarterfinal
Okay.
4, England v
We
Scotland
have to.
ended 40 points to 8. Whilst most countries would be happy with a 40-8 win, England versus Scotland games usually feature much bigger scorelines, with The Guardian reporting that they were not entirely happy with the scoreline. Was this a good performance from the Red Roses?
I really liked that. I don't remember at what point in the week the article came out that John Mitchell is upset. He doesn't like that he's starting to feel pressure.
I thought that was really interesting, actually, because I
It
don't
is really.
really
Oh
know-
yeah, I don't like it when
know.
people assume that we're going to be challenged now. It's making the girls feel bad. Oh no, not that. Not the thing everybody else feels all the time.
So I did a very brave thing. I can't remember what day it was, Monday, and I was reading the comments on a BBC article, which
You went in.
You sent me a beautiful
which
one.
you should never do. You did send us some really amazing ones. Yeah, no. So tell us the beautiful one you found.
Hang on, which one was this now? Was this the one going on about
the Guardian article?
Yeah, so that's how I found out about the Guardian article. So someone was basically slagging off the Guardian. Oh, there's a really horrible article.
They didn't even call them the Guardian either. They called them something else.
They call it the Graniard. That's what a lot of people call the Guardian. So that made me intrigued. I was like, ooh,
what are you talking about?
This has piqued my interest. So I went along to the Guardian article, and it was Kixton. I'm not a massive fan of the rugby coverage on the Guardian. I don't think it's
and neither is your father.
My dad hates it. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that story.
This is such a good story. If we have to go off topic, this one is beautiful.
If we have to go off topic, this is rugby off topic.
Okay, this is a great story.
And it involves an excellent, excellent man.
Back in 1993, Wales were shit. England were very, very good. England would won all the Grand Slams and everything, and Wales were playing England in the very first game of the Five Nations, as it was then, in Cardiff. And my dad went along to the game. No one gave Wales an absolute hope in hell. And England were coming along, we're going to win. And everyone said that we're going to win, England were going to win. The Guardian wrote this really horrible, snidey article basically saying Wales were shit. Wales won. Right. Wales won 10-9. My dad went
celebrating it. I was young. I'm celebrating like it happened.
That game was just my life. That game was. Ian Evans scored the try. And it was really funny because my dad came home very, very late that night. Absolutely
hammered.
Trolleyed
out of his brain. Right? He was so pissed. He was just so pissed. Hilarious. He rang up the Guardian. I don't even know how he found the number. In those days, we didn't have the internet.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys have there, but for the few Americans, pulls out the yellow pages.
I don't even know if it would have been in there.
But the Guardian again, drunk as pissed. The Guardian.
For reference, for people who don't know, Sean's dad is relatively important.
Oh yeah,
he's a rugby historian.
You
he has multiple books.
Read one of his books. Yeah,
he has a PhD.
People consult him for rugby facts, and he gives them facts without bullying them.
He was on the Michael Portillo railway TV program a couple of years ago, talking about rugby. Anyway, so yeah, he rings up the Guardian, and some no idea who answered. It was probably a janitor,
some intern. Yeah, some intern.
This was at 11 o'clock at night, and he was.
Oh, it is just the janitor.
He rang up and he went, 10-9, 10-9. He was just singing that.
Just harassing somebody on their voicemail.
And then put the phone down. And it was hilarious. And yes, great day. Great day.
And luckily they didn't know which Welshman it was because several Welshmen called them that day.
Yeah. All of the Guardian reading Welsh rugby fans.
Oh,
about
so many of them. But
going
back,
yeah.
Right? So
yes.
This narrative is that John Mitchell doesn't like, and that I'm sure other people don't like.
Kitson wrote this article, and he basically said that John Mitchell was I assume it was in the days leading up before this game with Scotland.
Yeah.
That he said something about England were handicapped by the cynical.
Yeah, about the fact that they don't go into every match 100% sure they're going to win. That is their handicap. Sure.
It didn't really make sense to me. I was like, okay.
Well, here's my thing. My message to the Red Roses. do you want to be bored? I don't understand. Do you like, so my thing is, if I were in the Red Roses position and I was like facing all of it, like, do you not like rugby? Because everybody else competes. Well, everybody else competes.
But it also doesn't make any sense.
You should just win.
It didn't make any sense.
The reason why it doesn't make any sense to me is that they all play in the PWR, right? They lose in the PWR. They are used to losing. Morwenna Talling, bless her, played for Sale Sharks last year. She's used to losing.
Meg Jones was playing for Tigers. I mean,
exactly. Like you have played for teams that have lost. So this is my thing, because you're right. So my only conclusion can be, like, do you just feel that you deserve it? I don't understand otherwise. Why would you not want to be challenged by anybody other than New Zealand? I would be thrilled.
I think Mitchell is feeling the pressure. I think that
good.
I think that they're not playing as well as people expect.
I also think they didn't play well. They won. I think Scotland lost that match.
I think the way that New Zealand is starting to peak and the way that Canada have been playing, I think they were a little bit. I think they feel threatened, or Mitchell feels, threatened.
Exactly. I don't necessarily think that this. I think if you played the 2022 Red Roses against the 2025 Red Roses, the result could be really interesting, because when you compare it to,
I'm curious what you think would happen.
Well, this is it. I can't say for certain that 2025 would win, and you would think that they would, because
I don't think they would.
It's progression, right? They would. But you would assume that a team 3 years down the line would be better than the team 3 years previously. If you look at Canada, I'm like, yeah, for certain, Canada would beat their previous team. New Zealand, I think the way that they're peaking, they could do it as well. England, I'm like, I don't know if
there's something about the back line, and Kitson mentioned this in the article, which I think was quite critical, and it was the first time I've seen, to be fair, I don't read a lot of media about England because they tend to be quite what's the word,
sycophantic.
That's it. And it's kind of
like yours. Mine was going to be another word that got me blocked on YouTube or whatever. I was going to call it masturbatory, but yeah, it
is. It kind of is.
It is.
This article wasn't. It was the first time I've seen them be actually critical. They're basically saying the backline doesn't click, and it doesn't. Which
is true. And by the way, is one of the softest things you can say about a rugby team.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, other than just saying, the other team.
Shit.
Yeah, other than the softest thing you can say, the other team wanted it more. Okay. The other one, the back line wasn't clicking. Okay. The Try Factory? Okay.
Well, this is it. I think that back line is set up to score individual tries rather than play together as a unit.
They are used to being so unopposed by the time that you get to the opposition's 22 meters, maybe, especially if you get into like the 5 meters. They're used to being so unopposed that I
agree with that.
And if we are going to get critical, and it really upsets me that I have to like preface this with like, Red Roses, I'm not when I'm saying this, I'm not like trying to be mean to you as people, but, and by the way, we call all sorts of other players not good enough. I can call you not good enough, but like, for example, Jess Breach doesn't do much except get past the ball and run, which is fine. That's what the winger does. But when there's any opposition, she can't even do that because she's not a playmaker. There are other players like that too.
I think they miss Ellie Kildare when she's not there. I think that back line suddenly looks a little bit one-dimensional.
Which brings us to the question, because this is also something that was brought up a lot, what is the optimal of the players that they have and the setup that they have? What is the optimal back line? And honestly,
all three knows.
Right, Mitchell doesn't know was the conclusion, but also just as evidence of how wonky it could go, all three of us, I think, have different answers, or at least last time we all chatted about it, we all have different answers for what the ideal back three is.
I think as well, like, part of me thinks that with John Mitchell and his selections is that he almost like goes, okay, I'm going to pick, his number one team, I feel, would be whoever has the best stats. And
I was crazy. It's like juvenile fantasy making. Is like I just picked the one that had the most points.
And we were talking about this earlier with somebody else, and I was like, the best team isn't necessarily made up of your 15 best players. You're going to have players who
They have to play with each other.
Yeah, they have to play with each other. You're going to have players who are better suited to the bench, who are going to come off as an excellent option off the bench. You've got players, you could have two centres who are two of the best centres in the world, but if they don't work together, they don't work together.
Yes.
You could have somebody who, yes, it scores loads of tries at 15, but do they actually perform the role of a 15? And is this going to cause you issues when you come up against a team who have a proper fullback and have proper kicking options, where you're used to playing against teams who don't? There's so many layers to this, and I don't think John Mitchell knows, and I think that's why nobody else really knows.
No, I agree. I do agree. It's interesting. It is really interesting. I think that one of the reasons why England are so successful is they just have such a good front row. I think they have the best props in the world. I don't think anyone has the quality and the depth. But I do think I don't think so. I don't think they do. And I think
the depth, I agree with you.
I think they bully teams really well, and I think they will. If I don't know what's happened to Bots. I don't know if we've had an update on her injury. I think they miss her. But I definitely think that I don't know. I think they're very, very good at bullying teams, and they were bullying Scotland. And Scotland had no fight. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Scotland were overwhelmed by the occasion. It was almost as if they were quite beaten before they even started playing. It was really weird because they've shown so much fight in this World Cup. It's been brilliant, but it was as if they just had nothing left. And it just allowed England to kind of really bully them. So yeah, I don't know. Like, going forward, it's going to be. I think the semi-finals are going to be interesting for England. I think they probably will get to the final now, though. I think they will beat France.
We've just had some technical difficulties, much like the SRU. And so with that, we're going to talk about, it was Jade Conkle-Roberts, probably one of my favourite players of all time. It was her last game for Scotland. We were all maybe a little bit confused when she announced it in the week. But we maybe thought, okay, like, EVG's come in. EVG's definitely got the starting shirt. She hasn't played much for Scotland recently. She's a busy lady. She's got... she's a full-time fighter. She's played for Quinn. She's got a wife. She's got adorable dogs. Like, she's got a busy life. And then after the match, our person who I would say friend of the pod, but he's not really a friend of the pod. But if he wants to be friend of the pod / best friend of the pod / we love you, Nick Heath.
Yes, please.
He managed to get the inside scoop. And I think the BBC got a video of it as well. And she basically said that she was not offered a contract. This has obviously been an ongoing issue. She was not offered a contract. They said the SRU had a 6-minute conversation with her, and they said that it was due to her performances, not only for her country, but for her club
and country.
Yeah. And just if you're a Quins fan like myself, you would know that Jade won Player of the Year.
For Quins, who had a meteoric year themselves.
Yeah. So doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Since then,
again,
Katie,
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
I really like to
after
13 years.
13 years, yeah. She missed her sister's wedding for a game.
6 minutes. What the hell went on in that 6 minutes meeting? Like,
no, really, because like when I think about meetings that I've like had with supervisors or whatever, like 2 minutes is just like, how's your family? So they were like, hey Jade, come sit down, whatever. We need to talk about your future. I assumed like, we need to talk about your future with Scotland Rugby. All right, I'm already shitting myself for that. And then 5 minutes of just like, so
you haven't got a contract.
We decided.
Lols.
Yeah.
Bye.
You're unemployed now, but you're not, because you're a firefighter.
You also have a full-time job fighting fires, and then also you have a Quins contract
she works as a personal trainer sometimes.
Oh, and that too. Where you didn't do well other than, winning the Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I wish people would really understand when they talk about professional women rugby players that so many of them have other jobs. Sorry, that's what I'm going to say
absolutely.
every single time.
And I mean, and it's fucking rich too, because Scotland has done it. PWR has done it. They do this for a lot of people, but Jade is one of their biggest ones. Jade is their big milking cow that they go to for, isn't this inspiring? No.
Exactly.
She's a firefighter all the time. Like, and so I'm thinking about this because one of the many times they've done one of these feel good, which we don't, by the way, but one of these feel good pieces about they work full time, you know, they're in the RAF, whatever. And they do all of this. And when they were talking to her about how she manages to be so effective and play at Quins, she lives in London. She's a London firefighter. She's also a Scotland national player. How do you do all of this? And she like kind of laughs or whatever. And she's just like, my entire schedule is color coded. And first of all, it's exhausting because also she's playing the rugby and being a firefighter, and then also has to make herself a little schedule. And this is inspiring to us. And then because of all of how inspiring she is and how much she means to Scotland, and thank you, Jade, 6 minutes and no explanation.
I'm so mad.
Do they matter to you?
We've also
so
seen
mad about it.
since that game, Katie Mattinson has announced that she's retiring. I can't remember whether
it was Lisa Coburn, but she was already
Lisa Coburn. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if Katie Mattinson said whether it's entirely or whether it's just national duty. But we could all pretty much assume that it's probably all come down to the same thing, which is they've not been.
She definitely
contracts.
didn't. I say this respectfully. She definitely didn't get a contract, which is crazy because
they don't have a lot
only
of
have
depth.
you only have 2 senior scrum halves, and one of them. Anyway, that one is the starter now. She's very young. She's not good yet. Even if Rhea Clark upskills and gets ready really fast, she's also really young.
Yeah. It's mad.
It is mad, and the way especially that Jade made it sound was that it like understandable, like that's business, whatever. But like, how badly are you bungling your business if you can only afford 15 contracts? Because Wales is doing better than you.
Wales have got
and they
37.
are constantly in a money crisis.
Yeah.
Shittily run union, because this can't be worst run union.
Yeah.
No.
And we're going to point it out, if you're on Scottish Rugby Twitter, if you follow our very good friend Leslie, Missile Panda on Blue Sky, and she's back on Twitter a little bit, she has brought it up a lot, but you've obviously got David Nusafora, who decimated the women's game in Ireland.
He's some garbage, by the way. Decimated Ireland.
Now he's in Scotland.
Absolutely. And by the way, we called this out when it happened because, first of all, it was kind of a surprise when he popped back up.
You would think he would be banished from rugby forever.
Well, we just thought that he'd go languish in Australia or something. No offense, but like Australia is where you go to send all of your miscreant coaches.
Or Fiji.
Can't even call him a miscreant because Fiji beat Wales. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he's like the greatest coach in the world now. Anyway.
Still a bully.
Oh yeah, a bit of a bully. And then so here's something I only saw very recently, and I didn't even get to dive into it very much, but I did see other people who have way more insight. Well, people who have insight into the Scottish camp. And I think it was actually, it might have been Gary Heatley. I don't want to get him in trouble because he's an actual journalist. But it was either him or somebody else, other Scottish rugby knowers on the social medias, started suggesting it is possible that the Easton exit is not necessarily his choice, or isn't done the way that he would have preferred, which could mean either like he didn't want to do it he didn't want it announced when it was announced, or possibly the exit isn't what he wanted. But if somehow it is a firing, that's absolutely baffling.
I mean, we all kind of said
absolutely
with Eason
baffling if they fired him.
Like with Eason, I do think like his time as head coach had come to an end. I think he had run out of ideas. Yeah. However, I still think that his knowledge and what he has done for the women's game in Scotland is really important. It was just his time as head coach had come to an end.
We also need to know if he had any involvement with what we now know was another ugly contract battle.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like it was the same deal as it was at Wales.
I don't think it was.
No, they're still.
The big difference would be if the coaching staff was involved in it, and it doesn't.
Exactly.
The coaching staff.
And quite frankly, the players are still being nice to him.
Yeah, exactly, and they weren't like threatened to be pulled out of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Exactly. Definitely all of that, certainly. But in terms of trying to kind of read into like what different players post, because Scotland doesn't like to air out the dirty laundry, it usually comes out as a leak, not players coming out and talking about it. Which is why the Jade thing was so important. And she could only do it after she was involuntarily retired. But we don't.
It must be so hard to go out and play. And they all want to play for their country so much. But also with all that going on in the background, it must be really hard.
And the difficult part is like, of all things, they all really want to go play for Rachel. Is what they always say. Is they're like, I always want to go out and play for her.
I also think like pissing off Jade Conkle-Roberts is the stupidest thing you could have ever done. No offense to Casey Mattinson, right? But a lot of people wouldn't necessarily know who she was unless you were like us. You probably don't necessarily know her name.
Or Lou McMillan, who also had a really horrible story about like they just unceremoniously dropped me.
Yeah. You know, people may not know those names unless they're in the circles. Jade Conkle-Roberts has been used on every piece of advertising. She is every.
That was why I brought it up, is that she's been the face of so much, including Scotland.
If I would not, it would not be surprising to me if most casual Scotland fans knew who Jade Conkle-Roberts was over Rachel Malcolm.
Yes.
Probably.
Absolutely.
And she has gone direct to Nick Heath, the BBC Sport, and just given it to them straight between the eyeballs and gone, they fired me for no good reason.
It's wild.
And by the way, and all of that absolutely true, all very relevant, valid, but also Jade of all people, Scotland's angel, like America's sweetheart is a phrase that we use here, but like the sweetheart of Scotland, like what do you think?
I don't understand what she needed to do to get a contract.
And also, what more could she have done?
I don't get it.
But and you know, it makes you even more curious now. 15 is such an like ominously low number. Who did you pick? How did you pick them?
That's not on match day 23, is it?
No, exactly. Well,
you can't even play a game with 15 people. Not sanctioned. PWR
is that one person in every position?
That's what I wonder, to be honest.
Because do you remember when the first Wales contracts came out and there's 2 scrum halves on there and like 4 hookers?
Right. No, but like we laugh, but that is true, and that is how it happened. And it did kind of look like, are you just picking people you like?
I think that was
what
people
we were just making fun
were...
of, which is just you're picking the good stats.
Oh, I honestly think that was just people who were willing to give up their jobs.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah,
the pay was so bad.
I think it was because the pay. Yeah, I think who was it? Well, it was Jazz,
Sean Ed,
wasn't it? And Sean Ed. They were teachers, and they had to take a huge pay cut.
Right.
Yeah, so Jazz had come out and said like, oh, I'm not getting paid anymore because of GB7s, and that's kind of why they started the contracts. And then Sean Ed was like, I'm not going professional, I'm not taking the pay cut. And Robin.
Because you have to acknowledge and you know,
because it was like 19 grand or something. It was like
and if you're Sean Ed and you've been a teacher for the best part of 2 decades, you're making more than 19 grand.
Right. and that's the thing though, is that like Sean had recognized that and what ended up being true, which is despite these contracts being issued, we're going to still be like the very true, like the very definition of marginalized. We are going to be margins in WRU's plans. And the money is always going to be, what can we cram into that little margin? And a thinking person who thinks about the rest of their life, you have to make the decision of just like, I can't do that. I am sure that, well, no, that's
maybe,
but I was going to say there is a reason that everybody who's in the military doesn't like leave their contracts on the military to go play pro. No, I mean, I need that contract when I'm done.
The one, like, I did wonder, like, oh, did they not offer Jade a contract as age? But she's not that, like, I think is she 30, 31?
She's
like
29 or 30.
She's got years left in her. You
Absolutely years. Like, and by the way, this is okay, but and so on the age thing, I know it can't be age because Scotland is now furiously celebrating Rachel Malcolm at 34, saying she's not retiring. Thank God, by the way. I don't know how they would go forward with no leadership from Jade and no leadership from Rachel.
Mad.
Like, great, but it couldn't be age. And by the way, in terms of stats, Rachel is kind of on Jade's stats right now. Like, they are both getting up there. They're both back rows. You've got to work for those stats. They're great stats when you make them, but you have to be doing like EVG stuff.
But also, Jake Conquer-Roberts is not playing a full match.
No.
And Dr. Rachel Malcolm is.
She's very much coming off injury.
Yeah. So this was Scotland did have opposition in this match. We have ignored them slightly. But we did have a question, and it was a question that was asked all over social media. We were asked it on Discord. We were asked it on Twitter. We were asked it on Instagram. Some form of this question. With the personnel changes, specifically Marley Packer out of the 23 and Bots being injured, are England lacking a jackal threat? I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll give my opinion as a former back rower.
I'll also note that Poppy clearly wasn't there, and she's also a threat. But you're right.
Yes.
Yes, but also the way that England plays, it doesn't really matter. Yes, they are lacking a jackal threat, but I don't think it matters. Or who do you think is?
Sadio Kabea.
Oh, absolutely. That's true.
I don't think it's mattered though, because I don't think they've played. I don't think they've been challenged. Like,
here's the thing: the
only thing they do with their forwards in terms of actual ideated plans is a rolling maul trap.
Exactly.
They don't have other plays that involve heavily the forwards.
They're not a jackal heavy team. And to be honest, Bots comes in, and Bots has become a kind of known for jackling.
I was going to say Bots jackals plenty.
Because Marley Packer's not been in the squad. I think she's become the main jackal threat for England because Marley Packer's not really been playing.
I'd take that. I'd take that. I feel she can do it. Yeah, I guess I was thinking too heavily about that England doesn't. But yeah, if they needed to, absolutely.
Yeah, you've got somebody like Sadia Kabea. It's in her wheelhouse. She can do it. Sure. It's just it's been a game and a half, game and 3/4. Bots has been out. She's the next jackal threat. She just hasn't really done it because she hasn't had the opportunity. What are you going to do? Scotland didn't have. They weren't that scared.
Well, in this
Scotland.
one particular, yeah.
But this is the thing. They kind of haven't needed to. I don't know.
They rarely do with the way that they play.
No,
exactly.
I don't see any.
And when I think of England jackling, it's generally against teams like Wales.
Yes. I was going to say it's usually on weak breakdown teams anyway, or light breakdown, weak,
or teams that are known for having a jackal threat, like Alex Callender or Aoife Wafer. They haven't played those teams. I think if they came up against Canada, they'd be potentially in trouble.
I would really like to, because I really think, this goes off the question of jackling, but I think that they probably couldn't against Canada because the speed is too much. England is not used to being challenged in terms of speed at breakdown.
No. And I
don't even think.
And here's the thing, I don't think 2025 Marley Packer nor loose head prop Hannah Bottoman could overcome that either.
No, I don't think, and that's my thing, is that I don't think you're pushing Tyson Bukubo off a breakdown. Right. I don't think
they've got other jobs to do if they were on the pitch.
And that is what that's a way better way of putting it, actually, yes. Is that the main jackal threats that they have are usually busy doing something else.
Yeah. I think that's it. Sadia Kabea's thinking of all the stuff she normally does, and it's I've got to pick up this thing because Hannah Bottom's not right. Anyway, with that, we're going to turn to the rest of our questions from our viewers, our listeners, the residents of Yap City. We have a question from Wendy from Your Scrum Half Connection, which I didn't realise until about 2 months ago is what YSC stood for. And with that,
I'm sorry, Wendy, I should have told you.
I was what does YSC? Literally, I've been following Wendy for years, and I had no idea.
I just
thought, brilliant
cool name. Yeah. I know. We're so clever.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great question. Spit it out.
It's a really good question.
I'll get on with it. She would like to know if we think Jo Yap would be headed to the USA and if there are any other front runners.
Can I?
I'm going to hand us over to our USA correspondent.
Thank you. I'm here in a USA right now.
Unfortunately.
So I'm super glad you asked this question. It's one that we've been discussing a lot anyway. So first of all, I'm saying this with half a tin hat on, only because we don't super duper know, but follow me. So do I think Jo Yap is the next USA coach? No. she left, I'm sorry, currently in a better place for various reasons. This isn't a knock on USA. I love my team more than ever. She left Australia because she said she wanted to go back to the UK. What I think, and especially with the mocking voice that I used about John Mitchell recently, I believe that Joe Yap is the next Red Roses coach. I think that that's kind of the only good trajectory here. Is she's also the coach that the Red Roses want. They obviously don't come out and say it publicly, but people talk. People are friends with other people who then talk to us. It does feel like that is her trajectory. She was the Red Roses captain herself. I don't think there is going to be, I hope so. Going over to USA now. I do hope. I'm not thrilled that Fuga Fuga left. I'm not surprised either. If any time for an exit, it would be now. I've said it on the Wall Street Journal. I think it was mostly the rugby, absolutely mostly the rugby. I know people roll their eyes when I bring up other facets of life when I talk about rugby, but it's not a great time to be a foreign person in America. He is a large man who is not white. I think it's probably not fun being here. Yes, I do think that played a part. And if I'm completely wrong, then it was also because he just didn't want to work for USA Rugby anymore. I think there were various reasons. He was only here a year. Now that said, I'm super stoked to be talking directly to somebody, to you, Wendy, is somebody who will know this. Yes, I do think there are front runners. What I would love, and this is partially bias, because this is what I would like to happen, but I think that it is time that we have USA coaches coaching USA. I say that because Emily Bidwell did fine at the Olympics. We have coaches who can do this. We especially have one coach that also has already coached Eagles. We have Sarah Shabbat. I think Sarah Shabbat is our front runner. I'm just going to keep saying it until somebody listens to me because I think that I'm right. She's currently the head coach.
Believe them.
I am going to believe them. She's the head coach of the WER Denver Onyx, who just won the inaugural championship. She's also
it.
What?
Yeah, steamrolled it.
Yeah.
Oh, steamrolled it. I thought you said somebody else did. I was like, oh no, sorry. Yeah, completely steamrolled it. Also is already the assistant coach under Fuga Fuga for USA. That one to me feels made for it. It is now time that we have somebody who is not a risk of leaving, who does not make us a stepping stone. It's fine if that's the case. I think that at this point, we should absolutely no longer settle for any coach who has not coached women before. I know that, especially like even some senior players elsewhere, I'm thinking of some even in Wales who were like, it doesn't matter if the new coach has experience with women or is a woman, if they like know or whatever. No, I'm not there. No, it needs to be somebody who knows women's rugby. In Sarah Shabbat's case, it's somebody who also knows all of these players. You can slot in so much easier if you know all the systems already. You don't have to learn everybody's skills, and he took a lot of time ramping up. So that is my answer. I think she is the front runner. I now my fully biased one, and this is somebody that I don't think would take the job. I think she's probably looking at retirement anyway, but it's Jamie Burke. And I hope that brings a smile to some older, my-aged American people, if any are listening. She is also highly experienced, has been coaching in and around WER, was the longtime head coach at the University of Virginia, winning several championships. She's a very good coach. That said, I think she did step back a little bit already, so it's probably just wishful thinking. And my final one is Sylvia Broughton, who is the head coach of the Chicago Tempest and has also been the head S&C coach for the Eagles for a while. I think she still is. Also just great head for the game. All of the people that I just listed have played for the Eagles. They know the system. I'm sorry this is going long. I think this matters. I think especially if we are targeting 2033 as hard as we are, and I know we are, come on, man. We can have a Kevin Rued. Like, yes, we can. We can. I'm trying to think of another coach who's been there a really long time somewhere. Why don't we have that in women's, by the way? We can have a Rassi. We could have lots of teams deserve them.
I was just going to say, like, just because you haven't mentioned it and you normally do, is that North American rugby is different. Like, the culture is different, the way that it's played is different. None of that is a negative thing. It's a good thing. it's not
very good.
It's not, Anglo-Saxon rugby. It's different.
It's one of the reasons,
and it's one of the biggest selling points. And I think that's why
audiences love it. Longtime fans love it.
And I think that's why Kevin Rouet is doing so well in Canada, because he understands it.
Yes.
I think when you have coaches coming over, and this goes for the USA men, it goes for the USA women, when you have coaches come over from traditional rugby nations and they try and fit in the USA, it doesn't always work. It normally doesn't work.
It frustrates the coach because they don't understand why it doesn't work. It frustrates the players because they feel like they're not
being listened
doing
to,
what they know they can do. And it frustrates everybody because there is still this prevailing notion that the Anglo-Saxon rugby is the rugby to play. And, we give them flack all the time, but Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa, they fucking hate this. Like, it's not the only rugby out there. We praise Argentina's men all the time for how creative it is because it's not what you're expecting. Squidge recently put out a really great video about how Canada women is the most exciting rugby team on the planet right now, and it's because you don't know what's coming and because they invented something new.
Yeah,
they have so many different facets to their game.
Here's the thing, like the USA,
new ideas will bring that. The same old people passing everybody around, the same 5 or 6 people isn't going to do that.
Like 100%. The USA have the ability to be the same as Canada, if not greater.
Absolutely,
you've got
all
more,
the pieces are there. Nobody
more
has
potential players. At this point, it is literally just coaching and USA Rugby. However, if Canada
especially with the announcement about the huge investment, which you can go listen to Wall Street Journal if you want to know more about it. We won't talk about it here, but we're about to get a huge investment. That was the time.
If Canada Rugby, if the women's Canadian team can succeed with Rugby Canada in charge,
exactly,
the Eagles can succeed with USA Rugby in charge.
And we don't even talk about it, and there's no reason to now, but Canada also went through a contract and bullying nightmare. They're not even contracted, so not even that, but bullying by their own head coach for a while. Racist, homophobic, all of that, and they weren't paid, and everybody was playing in England. You can do it. We can do it.
So yeah, I just think an American coach, specifically a female queer coach for the USA,
would be even better.
It is the best option, and this isn't like an identity thing. It just works for that team. It is a team that defies every barrier and every stereotype of what femininity is, and I think that is why it is important, because your coach needs to connect with your players.
For everyone who tells us that we're getting too woke when we do talk about, and the same way that I talked about why a male coach of color might not want to be working here. No, this matters. We talked about Joe Yap earlier, and I know the reason why Wendy asked about Joe Yap in particular is because she's known worldwide as one of the best coaches of women. And when you talk to any of those women, they all say the same things. And it's not that she's the most brilliant rugby tactician that they've ever met. When I think of Joe Yap, I think of what the women at Worcester said when it disintegrated, when everybody had to spread out. Several players that you love, anybody who is listening. Lana Skeldon has said this. Paige Ferries has said this. EVG has said this, that Joe Yap is the reason why they kept playing when they were like, I think it might just be time. Like, this is all terrible. And that, by the way, is emotional intelligence. That has nothing to do with how good at rugby she is. But that is how you coach women.
Katie Mattinson, in her retirement announcement today, shouted out Joe Yap.
She did, yeah.
From her time at Worcester.
For her time at Worcester. And, to me, I think it's kind of ridiculous because we'll get people that say, oh, you're being too woke and you're picking somebody. Like, no. These are the same people that would say that the Welsh men's national team cannot be coached by an Englishman and should be coached by a Welshman because they don't understand the culture. It's the same with the USA.
Yes,
absolutely. Oh, no. And it's the same for women's rugby, by the way. They really hate it. And I remember this was in the rugby zeitgeist maybe a year or two ago, because a few coaches did, and Joe Yap was one of the ones who actually spoke about it. It was also Giselle May there for a lot of driving this narrative. But it is true. Sorry, this could be woke. It is true that women and men are coached differently, or coached successfully differently. And coaches like Kevin Roy have now, male coaches of women's teams have spoken about this now. Dave Ward has spoken about it very well as well. Men practice best when they win. They train best when they win. They try hardest, and they win when they feel like they've practiced really hard or whatever. Women play best when they're happy, when they feel listened to. Sorry if it's woke, but like Sophie Julia can still kick your ass. She also likes it when a coach like cares about her. And sure, maybe it says something about women. I don't know, but I would rather them just be coached competently. And sorry, like women.
I really don't want to like harp on this, right? And we are going very, very. This is going to be a long pod. However, I wonder, right, if John Mitchell has never coached women before.
Yep.
Nope.
Do we think
it was a turnkey
that this
team.
is do we is this playing a factor? And with that, we move on to our next question, shall we?
Great.
Friend of the pod, Leslie, very good friend, would like to know, why do the SRU suck so badly at women's rugby?
They don't care.
Because they don't care.
They don't care. They don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah.
It's like the WRU, I think. I just think
really...
that they haven't had the same negative press that the WRU get.
But it's coming.
So you say that. We talked about it earlier. You had a player take their own life. And you came out with all of this talk about how you won't let that happen again. How you realize that mental health now matters. All of the things that a child who is scolded for being bad says when they're told to say sorry. And we got Jade the other day.
I think the SIU are just very good at spinning things, and
I think we're learning that now. I feel silly for having praised the response the way I did because it was all a ruse.
Yeah, and I think, when we talk about the WRU, we say it all the time, they are absolutely horrendous at PR and HR and everything else.
Like, openly, they're like, yeah, we're dumbasses.
Yeah, we're just bad at it.
SRU is like, SRU is the HR woman. That's who they are. We care. We care. I'm protecting the company. We care. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Have an Amazon gift card.
Yeah, no, exactly. Pizza party. Yeah. Not more money. 15 contracts.
Have some free
pizza party.
Fruit.
Pizza party.
Have some free food.
Oh no, pizza party, but you're gonna have to like chip in.
Yeah, and then also, can one of you go pick it up?
Yeah. And then Lo says, Yap City shirts when?
That's a question that we kick to Hattie.
I don't know. Do you guys want shirts? Do you guys want an Instagram account? Let us know.
Yeah, would that work actually? Because we actually don't have a place to be putting all our clips.
I would like Instagram. If you guys don't know, I post quite a lot of our stuff on my Instagram.
Which I share and I love it, except a few people have now asked me, why is the Rugby History channel or the Rugby History Project always sharing your clips? And I was like, well,
I'm on it.
Have you ever read the name at the bottom of an article? You're like, no. I'm like, there you go.
We should set up an Instagram account.
We should
though. That's true.
Yeah. And then we're going to wrap up finally, because this has been a very, very long episode. We haven't really previewed next week, but like it's gonna happen, innit?
Yeah, and I mean,
there's a semi-final.
I don't think our opinions would be very. You know what we think by what we said about each team.
Yeah. So let's just wrap it up. Try of the week, guys. What do you think?
Grise
for me.
I was going to say Vahakolo, but I've lost because you've both said Grise. Player of the weekend.
For me, and because I'm obsessed with scrum halves, Maya Joseph.
Interesting.
That's a good one. Okay.
I just thought she was outstanding.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah, honestly. Because otherwise Maya Joseph sounds good. I'd go with that or Stacey Walker.
I was gonna, if I'm thinking about the person who made the biggest impact, made the most news, had the most impactful game on me, the one that actually made me want to cry. No, I'm gonna say Jade Conkle-Roberts as my player of the weekend. I think she did a lot on the pitch, and I think she's done a lot off the pitch. And it's the last time that I get to say that Jade Conkle-Roberts is my player of the weekend in a Scotland shirt. So, and
I feel stupid for not doing that because that's a really good idea.
Sorry, guys.
I have no regrets.
And then,
like you said, Maya Joseph, call me.
And then game of the weekend. We started off the pod by saying that it was our game of the weekend, and I think we all agree.
Yeah, definitely.
It was England versus Scotland. No, I'm kidding.
It's those red roses.
It's
I've got
New Zealand versus South Africa.
And by the way, baby red roses, you deserve it.
Oh, yeah. So that's it. Do you want to close us out, Julia?
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Sorry for the long pod. Not that sorry. Probably going to keep doing it. Thank you as always for joining us. Please send us your comments, questions, anything else. We've got the comment section here. As Hattie has mentioned, we're all over socials and we're hoping to get an Instagram. They're going to give it to us.
We just decided.
We just need to.
One of either Hattie or Sean will register it because I am probably at this point registered as a thought criminal in America. And Meta won't because, and then like this whole thing crashes out and YouTube shuts down. We'll be setting that up. Thank you so much. We will be back to talk about the semifinals, which are intimidating, but hopefully we can sum up things better. And we'll try to be less woke. In the interim, tell us how you think we could be less woke. Tell us your favorite inappropriate joke. Get us all canceled.
Or do you know what would make us less woke? Because apparently it's really woke when only women are on things.
That is
because
so true.
women are
That
getting
so
into
true.
men's stuff, and we're
so
only
true.
women.
Ugo Monia, very easy to miss on a camera.
Yeah. So Simon Middleton.
I don't see Red Roses coaches. Tell me which people you don't acknowledge in the comments, on social media, via email. I don't really don't email.
We don't really have them.
No, don't, because we're not going to check it. Find us everywhere else. Until then, thank you so much one more time. I'm really nailing this outro. We'll be back
and
next
don't
time.
forget to hype us.
We don't know what hyping is because again, we are all aging, but there's hyping on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do it. I don't know how.
Like and subscribe. That's what
like and subscribe and then hype. Hyping can be clicking a hype button, maybe. It's perhaps sharing it. Share it to 10 people if you get 10 back.
I don't know if it's swiping a
It's swiping. Share it to 10 people. If you get 10 back, you're a baddie. If you get 5 back, people tolerate you.
And if you don't get any back, you're going to die within the next 7 days.
If you don't get any back, you're not getting a contract next year.
Why do we sound like my nan? Like describing like
this is like
man email.
This is going to be our. But we're trying to close out. I'm telling an off-topic story. This is like when my dad says, "Can you come round?" And I go round, and he's showing me a text that's quite clearly a scam, and he's like, "Is this real?" And then I have to like delete and report the text.
Dad, you have a virus. You have 100 viruses.
I'm like, Dad, no. Like,
Folks, tell us
it literally says your surname and it's spelt wrong. Like, what do you think?
You said it's a number you don't recognize. Folks, send us a threatening message from a number we don't recognize. We'll drop our WhatsApp in the comments. As always, thank you for joining us. We will be back next week. It might be more coherent, might not. You'll have to tune in to find out.
I doubt it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Women's Rugby Treehouse. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us wherever you see us on social. Join us again for more of the same next week. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
The holidays are coming. What are you giving your employees and clients this season? Pinnacle Promotions makes corporate holiday gifting simple, thoughtful, and memorable. From cozy winter apparel to festive gift sets, they'll help you customize your cheer. Whether it's for top partners or team players, Pinnacle knows promo, and they make holiday gifting creative, seamless, and stress-free. Order your holiday gifts today at pinnaclepromotions.com/Spotify.